In a world overflowing with information, truth has become harder to find. Lies spread faster, reach further, and shape what millions believe every day. We are swimming in signals, drowning in noise. And when everything looks true, nothing has to be. This is the age of instant certainty, manufactured at scale. Two people, same city, different realities. Fake News Nation, how disinformation shapes reality. Propaganda. Disinformation. The deliberate spread of falsehoods to shape belief has been a tool of power for centuries. From pamphlets printed in secret to the sensational headlines of the yellow press, the goal has always been the same: to capture the mind by bypassing the truth. What we now call fake news is simply the latest name for an ancient craft. But something fundamental has changed. The printing press, the radio, the television broadcast, they all had limits. Physical distribution, editorial gatekeepers, a finite number of channels. The internet erased them all. It didn't just lower the barrier to entry, it vaporized it. Now, every user is a potential publisher, every device a printing press, every network a global broadcast system. What was once a controllable fire has become a digital wildfire, unstoppable. In this new ecosystem, a single rumor, a whispered falsehood posted in the heat of the moment, can achieve global reach in minutes. It doesn't need to be true, it only needs to be compelling. A rumor today can become tomorrow's reality, not because it was proven, but because it was repeated, shared, and believed by enough people to alter their behavior. The architecture of our digital lives is designed for this. The algorithms that curate our feeds aren't programmed to prioritize truth. They are programmed to maximize engagement. And what engages us? Strong emotion. The feed favors feelings over facts. Outrage generates more clicks than nuance. Fear drives more shares than reassurance. Joyful surprises travel faster than sober corrections. This creates a new set of rules for information. Speed beats certainty. The first draft of history is now written in real time, often by anonymous accounts, and the pressure to be first outweighs the need to be right. Volume beats verification. A lie, repeated 1,000,000 times by a chorus of bots and believers, can drown out a single verified fact. The platform rewards the loudest, not the most accurate. And just as we began to grapple with this new reality, the very nature of evidence started to dissolve. For generations, we operated on a simple premise: seeing is believing. Photographic and video evidence was our gold standard for truth. But now deepfakes and generative AI move the goalposts. They don't just manipulate reality, they create a plausible, synthetic version of it from scratch. Seeing is no longer believing. It is merely the starting point for a new, more difficult question. Is this real? The technology is advancing exponentially. The telltale signs of digital forgery, the uncanny valley, the strange artifacts at the edges are disappearing. The imperfections are shrinking, but the doubt they leave behind is growing. This is the liar's dividend. Even when a piece of content is proven real, the pervasive existence of fakes allows anyone to dismiss it as a fabrication. The erosion of trust is total. This doubt creates a fertile ground for virality. The most potent misinformation often spreads not in the public square of a social feed, but in the trusted intimacy of private groups and direct messages. Here, our guard is down. The content is framed as a secret, a forbidden truth the mainstream is trying to hide. Debunking can trail virality by hours, or never catch up at all because the correction never penetrates these closed networks. Nowhere is this dynamic more potent or more dangerous than in the realm of our health. Health misinformation thrives on two of our most powerful emotions: hope and fear. Hope for a miracle cure, for a simple answer to a complex illness, and fear of the unknown, of the medical establishment, of the disease itself. It offers easy promises in the face of hard realities. In this emotional landscape, anecdote beats evidence when it feels personal. A single, compelling story of a miraculous recovery, even if fabricated, can feel more real and urgent than a dense, peer-reviewed study filled with statistics and caveats. It's a story with a hero, a villain, and a magical solution, a narrative our brains are wired to embrace. But evidence takes time. The scientific method is a slow, deliberate, and self-correcting process. It requires rigor, patience, and the acceptance of uncertainty. It cannot compete in an ecosystem that demands instant answers and rewards sensationalism. By the time a study is funded, conducted, peer-reviewed, and published, our attention is already elsewhere, captured by the next miracle cure or conspiracy. The manipulation isn't always a total fabrication. Sometimes, the most effective lie is a truth that has been twisted. Snipped sentences, rearranged pauses. A quote from an expert is trimmed to remove all nuance, leaving only a shocking soundbite. A video is edited to remove the preceding question, changing the entire context of the answer. A new, more inflammatory meaning appears, crafted from the raw material of the truth. For those who already hold a certain belief, this manipulation is confirmation. The edit is invisible to those already convinced. It affirms their worldview so they don't question its authenticity. The clip becomes proof, shared as undeniable evidence that reinforces the divide between us and them. The correction, when it comes, is always playing catch-up. It requires effort to find and consume. It lacks the emotional punch of the original lie. And so, corrections rarely travel as far or as fast as the original clip. The damage is done. The false impression is cemented. Studies have confirmed what we intuitively feel. Misinformation spreads faster, further, and more broadly than truth. Why? Because it is optimized for surprise. Truth is often mundane, complex, and constrained by reality. A lie has no such constraints. It can be crafted to be as shocking, novel, and emotionally resonant as possible. Novelty, fear, and outrage are keys that unlock our most primitive neural pathways. They are attention hacks. They bypass our rational minds and trigger an immediate emotional response. We are biologically primed to pay attention to threats and surprises. Misinformation engineers exploit this instinct relentlessly. At scale, that hack becomes an economy. An entire industry has emerged, dedicated to manufacturing and monetizing outrage. Clicks equal ad revenue. Engagement equals influence. Whether for political gain or financial profit, the incentive is to produce the most provocative content possible, regardless of its connection to reality. In this economy, the meme is the perfect currency. Memes compress complex claims into contagious, bite-sized jokes or images. They are the Trojan horses of ideology, smuggling in contentious ideas under the guise of humor. They are easily shareable, instantly recognizable, and incredibly difficult to fact-check. How do you debunk a feeling or a punchline? The power of the meme lies in repetition. A single exposure might be dismissed as a joke, but see it 100 times, shared by friends, family, and influencers you trust, and the message begins to seep in. Repeat a punchline enough, and it becomes a premise. The joke becomes the foundation for a genuine belief. Then the loop closes. The narratives and tropes born in the chaotic fringes of the internet get laundered into the mainstream. Online chatter becomes a topic for on-air debate. A meme becomes a talking point for a politician. The broadcast media, hungry for content that reflects and drives the online conversation, amplifies the signal. Online to on-air and back again, each cycle lending the other more legitimacy. This feedback loop creates an information cascade. When millions tune in, the loudest signal wins, reinforced by the authority of the broadcast and the virality of the web. The distinction between a grassroots belief and an artificially amplified narrative becomes impossible to discern. And at the heart of it all is a simple, individual action, repeated billions of times a day. The click, the share, the retweet. It feels small, insignificant. But in the aggregate, it is the engine of this entire system. Every share is a vote for what becomes real. Every click is a signal to the algorithm. Show more of this. We are the curators. We are the amplifiers. But who built the system that rewards the lie? Who designed the architecture that makes falsehood more profitable than truth? It wasn't an accident. It was a series of choices, made in boardrooms and during coding sessions, optimizing for a single relentless metric: our attention. To understand how we got here and how we might find our way out, we have to look behind the screen, follow the money, follow the code, follow the algorithm. Behind every viral lie is an engine, not of malice necessarily, but of cold, calculating logic. It's an algorithm, a vast and complex system of code designed with a single, relentless purpose: to grab your attention and hold it for as long as possible. This engine doesn't sleep. It doesn't have an agenda beyond its core programming. It is a digital predator, and our focus is its prey. It learns what makes us stop scrolling, what makes our heart beat a little faster, what provokes a response, and it gives us more of it, again and again. In this digital ecosystem, outrage is the most potent fuel. It generates clicks, comments, shares, all measurable signals of engagement. And engagement is the currency that powers the entire platform. Every second you spend watching, every angry emoji you tap, every share that broadcasts your indignation is a data point that tells the algorithm, this works, this keeps them here. This is valuable. So, the system optimizes for what is emotionally resonant, not what is factually accurate. Outrage fuels engagement, and engagement means profit. The ultimate metric isn't truth. It's time spent. The system runs millions of tiny experiments every second, A/B testing headlines, thumbnails, and video cuts. It's a ruthless process of digital natural selection. Does this phrasing cause more people to click? Does this image make them pause? The version that elicits the strongest, fastest reaction wins and is immediately scaled to millions of users. Nuance, context, and accuracy are liabilities in this model. They slow the user down. They require cognitive effort, which is the enemy of frictionless consumption. At scale, content creation becomes a factory line. Human creators, incentivized by the same metrics, learn to feed the machine what it wants. They become experts in crafting the perfect emotional hook, the irresistible curiosity gap. The goal is no longer to inform or to explain, but to package information in a way that guarantees an algorithmic boost. The system is designed to reward the emotional spike and punish the nuance. A carefully researched, balanced article may get a handful of thoughtful shares. A misleading, rage-inducing headline can circle the globe in an hour. The algorithm doesn't distinguish between them based on quality or veracity. It only sees the data. One lit up the network, the other didn't. The choice is simple. In the attention economy, controversy prints money. Advertisers pay a premium to place their products next to content with the highest engagement. And nothing engages like a fight. This creates a powerful side effect: the echo chamber. As the algorithm learns your preferences, it feeds you a more and more refined diet of what you already like, what you already believe. Slowly, imperceptibly, it narrows your reality to a comforting, self-validating loop. Dissonance is filtered out. Agreement is amplified. Ideas that challenge your worldview are deemed less relevant and quietly disappear from your feed. Meanwhile, content that confirms your biases is pushed to the top, reinforced by a chorus of likes and shares from others inside your bubble. The result is that entire communities can be tuned to a single story, a single version of reality, completely insulated from any counterargument. What feels like a global consensus is actually a carefully curated local illusion. This isn't an accident, it's a design choice. The code reflects the incentives we choose. The architecture of these platforms is built upon a specific model of human behavior, one that is assumed to be predictable, quantifiable, and ultimately monetizable. This creates a self-perpetuating loop. Outrage generates clicks. Clicks attract ad revenue. Ad revenue justifies boosting the outrageous content further. The loop doesn't care if it's true, only if it spreads. And from a boardroom perspective, the system is working perfectly. Rising lines on a quarterly report have a way of silencing hard questions about societal cost or informational integrity. The numbers are good. The shareholders are happy. This is sold to us as personalization, a service that promises relevance, and in a way, it delivers. But what it truly delivers is enclosure. It builds a world for you, but it's a world with invisible walls. Two people can ask the exact same question and receive two completely different sets of answers, each tailored to their pre-existing profile. Same question, different answers. Design. We no longer share a common information space, but inhabit separate, algorithmically defined realities. In this marketplace, you are not the customer. You are the product being sold. More specifically, your attention and your emotional state are the product. Your outrage is valuable inventory, packaged and sold to the highest bidder in a fraction of a second. The great irony is that in a world more connected than ever, we feel more alone. We trade genuine human connection for the fleeting validation of digital confirmation. We mistake the roar of the crowd in our echo chamber for a real conversation. When everyone lives in their own personalized reality, the common ground erodes. The center struggles to hold. Shared facts, the very bedrock of a functional society, begin to feel like a quaint, outdated concept. And the machine never sleeps. It is always learning, always optimizing, always pushing the boundaries of what will capture and hold our gaze. It has no off switch, but algorithms alone don't explain belief. The most sophisticated code in the world can't make someone believe something they aren't already, on some level, prepared to accept. The engine can amplify and accelerate, but it needs a spark to ignite. That spark lies within us. To understand the spread, we have to understand ourselves, our biases, our fears, our deep-seated need for identity and belonging. The algorithm is a mirror, reflecting and magnifying our own human nature. To truly grasp why misinformation is so effective, we must look beyond the code and into the complexities of the human mind. This is where psychology meets propaganda. Why do we fall for fake news? The question seems simple, but the answer is buried deep within our own psychology. We believe because, on a fundamental level, it feels right. It arrives dressed as a confirmation of our deepest intuitions, a validation of what we already suspect to be true about the world. It's not a failure of intelligence, but a feature of how our minds are wired to make sense of a complex reality. We are narrative creatures, and the most compelling story often wins, regardless of its connection to the facts. Disinformation is a predator. It doesn't hunt for facts, it hunts for feelings. It expertly preys on our fears, our hopes, our pre-existing beliefs, and our cognitive biases. It finds the cracks in our understanding and wedges them open, transforming a loosely held opinion into an unshakable certainty. It's a subtle alchemy that happens in the quiet moments we spend with our screens, turning the lead of our anxieties into the false gold of conviction. In the digital arena, identity can outweigh evidence. When a piece of information aligns with our sense of self, our political tribe, our cultural values, our place in the world, it becomes more than just a claim. It becomes a banner to wave, a declaration of who we are. To question the information is to question the tribe itself, a social risk many are unwilling to take. The messenger becomes more important than the message. This is confirmation bias in action. We don't just prefer information that supports our views. We actively search for what confirms us and instinctively dismiss, discredit, or ignore what doesn't. Our online environments, curated by algorithms designed for engagement, become echo chambers that amplify this tendency. We build fortresses of belief, not with bricks and mortar, but with clicks and shares, each one reinforcing the walls that keep dissenting views out. Neurologically, emotion fires first. Reason trails behind. A shocking headline or a heart-wrenching image triggers an immediate, visceral response from the older, more primitive parts of our brain. The rational, analytical part, the prefrontal cortex, takes longer to engage. By the time it arrives on the scene, the emotional verdict is often already in. We feel, then we think. And our thinking is often just a search for justifications for what we already feel. In this state, certainty is contagious. An emotional reaction, especially a strong one like anger or fear, is highly shareable. It travels through social networks like a virus, its transmission fueled by algorithms that prioritize high arousal content. Your outrage validates my outrage, and together, our shared outrage creates a powerful social signal that the information must be important and therefore true. This shared outrage offers a seductive sense of purpose and a group to belong to. In an age of disconnection, the digital mob provides a powerful, if temporary, sense of community. It gives us a clear enemy to fight and a clear tribe to fight for. We are no longer isolated individuals. We are part of a collective, united in a common cause. This feeling of belonging can be one of the most powerful rewards the digital world has to offer. The system is designed for this. Social approval rewards alignment over accuracy. A well-researched, nuanced post may receive little attention, while a simplistic, emotionally charged meme that reinforces the group's narrative goes viral. We are conditioned by a constant feedback loop of likes, shares, and retweets, digital breadcrumbs that lead us toward conformity and away from critical thought. The simple truth is that doubt is exhausting. Certainty is soothing. To constantly question, to verify, to live with ambiguity, it requires significant mental energy. Belief, on the other hand, is a release. It offers a simple, comforting story in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable. This cognitive fatigue is compounded by information overload. We are bombarded with more data in a single day than our ancestors saw in a lifetime. To cope, our brains are forced to take shortcuts, relying on mental heuristics to make snap judgments. In this environment, headlines become truth by proxy. We share the headline, not the article. We react to the summary, not the substance. The wrapper becomes the candy. This shortcut allows us to participate, to have an opinion, and to signal our allegiance without doing the hard work of reading and understanding. This is the illusory truth effect. Repetition turns familiarity into trust. When we see the same claim over and over from different sources in our feed, our brain mistakes that familiarity for credibility. The lie, simply by being repeated, starts to feel like a fact. It's a cognitive glitch, exploited with ruthless efficiency.
How do you know? This simple question is the circuit breaker. We can slow the emotional reflex by engaging our rational minds with better questions. Who is telling me this? What is their evidence? What do other sources say?
We can choose to create time to think. The architecture of the internet is built for speed, for immediate reaction. But we have the power to resist it, to pause before sharing, to step away from the screen, to let the initial emotional wave crest and fall before we decide what to believe and how to act. Offline, nuance has room to breathe. In face-to-face conversation, we have access to tone of voice, body language, and the shared context of human relationship. Disagreements are less likely to become declarations of war. It's in these spaces that we can rediscover the complexity and empathy that the online world so often strips away. But we must recognize that some lies aren't just accidents of our psychology, they're weapons, deliberately crafted to exploit these vulnerabilities. These are sophisticated, often state-sponsored campaigns designed to fracture trust, amplify division, and paralyze our ability to respond to genuine crises. Next, we investigate the geopolitics of disinformation. Who benefits when the truth collapses? Disinformation has become a weapon, shaping votes and suppressing them. False logistics spread faster than corrections. Coordinated networks shape what's trending. Old tools, new channels. Design built to travel. The message made mimetic. Bots seed the field. Humans harvest the outrage. From local rumors to international ops, the tactics rhyme. Confusion is the point. Plausible deniability thrives in the fog. Online fractures map onto neighborhoods. Economic harm at the speed of a post. Volatile by design. Platforms scramble. Scale collides with nuance. Labels help some. Fuel backlash in others. Everyone wants a simple fix. There isn't one. Trust erodes slowly, then all at once. But erosion isn't destiny. There is resistance. Quiet, persistent, and growing. But the war on truth isn't lost. Fact-checkers work post by post, claim by claim. Receipts over rumors. AI detects patterns humans miss. Friction restores a beat of doubt. Controls put some agency back in our hands. Media literacy teaches how to know before we share. Communities can inoculate themselves.
Who posted it? Why? What evidence? Questions are the vaccine.
Accountability reporting still cuts through the fog. Show your work. Earn back trust. Depth counters the dopamine drip. We can rebuild common ground, one conversation at a time. Attention is a choice, and restraint is powerful. Truth survives when we protect it. Together. The next choice is yours. In a fake news nation, the truth is no longer what's told. It's what's believed. Belief shapes our timelines, our towns, our ties. Pause is a powerful act. Choose questions over clicks. The question is, who do you trust? Subscribe to Kendu Global Files for more eye-opening stories about the world we live in.